Commissioner, Animal Control, Assessor, Clerk Recorder and Elections, District Attorney, Human Services and Health Division, Probation, Sheriff Coroner, County Jail, and Treasurer Tax Collector's Office. First on the agenda.
Good evening. The CAO's office, in coordination with the individual departments, has developed a comprehensive fee review and update. This is the fourth one we've done this way. In the past, the board has requested additional time to review and discuss the proposed fee schedules, so this study session has been added to assist with that. The public hearing to adopt the fees was set for March 24th. The fees will be adopted at that time as presented in this report unless otherwise directed by the board in tonight's study session. It's necessary to review the fees on a regular basis to ensure they are appropriate and up to date and reflect changes in staff and non-staff costs as well as the time spent on these services. This allows the departments to recover appropriate costs for services, ensure that no one is paying too much or too little for those services, and to ensure that county residents as a whole are not subsidizing a service that benefit a single citizen or organization. The staff report and fee schedules for each department that changes fees, which include current fees charged, the recommendation for the update, increase, decrease, a removal or deletion of fee, a new fee, or no change is included. The staff report is divided into two sections. Section 1 is the recommended changes, and Section 2 has any departments that no changes were recommended. Each department is responsible for developing and administering the fees, and there are representatives from each department here to discuss any recommended changes. The departments have provided the CAO staff with recommended fees. Staff has reviewed the fees and the methodology used to arrive at the recommended fees and concurs with the recommendations. The calculations for labor rates used to calculate the fees was developed in consultation with the auditor controller. If you guys have any questions at this time on how fees are developed, I can answer those. Otherwise, we'll get started with Section 1 of the changes. Okay. So the first one is ag. This is a summary of the fee schedule. The full schedules are in your binders, but these are just what's changing, so it's kind of a summary of it. There's 6 fee increases, 1 fee deletion, and weights and measures has no changes at this time. Do we have any questions about ag?
Yes, sir.
Can you go over the, just like you said, the 6 recommended fee changes? So the first one would be obviously the
first one's the removal of the structural exam fee.
okay.
So the MOU was repealed by Structural Pest Control Board. We no longer have that fee. The next change increased the acreage fee for the certified field study inspections from $8 to $10. The certified farmers market certificate went from $60 to $75. This is a maximum amount set by statute, and the same for the certified producers certificate. The fees for miscellaneous ag services, their staff rate went from $100 to $115. Ag plan check reviews, their deposits went from $100 to $115 based on their staff rate. And the staff rate, again, for the ag plan checks went from $100 to $115. And Mark is here if you have any questions for him.
I have a question for you, Ashley. You know, when we're doing fee studies, obviously, do we do comparisons with other counties, or do we do what do we actually look at when we're adjusting our fees?
We look at our cost.
At our cost?
and statute.
So we don't take in consideration what other counties are doing or what they're charging? We just...
Not typically, no.
Okay. All right, thank you.
One of the things that amazes me is that, with all due respect, Commissioner, the fees never seem to go down. No matter what, we could be having a depression and the fees would have a tendency to go up. Is there some particular reason or justification as to why these fees have to go up? I don't know what the actual percentage is here, but it's when you go from $8 an acre to $10 an acre, that's somewhere around 18% in my book. I'm just curious as to what justification you bring to the board as to why you should have that kind of an increase in your fees, Mark.
The majority of fees that we can charge is set by statute. So we do not have any leniency on those type of fees, especially on the weights and measures fees, which is all set by county ordinance. But on some of these fees, in actuality, because we get unclaimed gas tax, our fees are actually almost a third less than what the fees should actually be based on our costs, because the growers are actually paying for that, for basically a reimbursement back to us through unclaimed gas tax. So our $115 in reality should be around $145, $155, depending on the program that you're looking at. That's our actual cost in the county, based upon all the other associated costs, with the A87, et cetera.
So you're saying you were losing money at the old rate, and now this will break you even?
Yes, because we haven't actually had any really increases to the fee schedule since 2011.
Yeah, nothing else.
And that's true with most of our fees. None of our fees have been updated since December 6th of 2011, and they're all cost-based fees. So as our labor cost goes up, our fees are going to go up to meet that labor cost. So that's true throughout the majority of these.
Yeah, just personally, I'm always amazed. Rarely do you see a fee go down. It seems that bureaucracy has a way of showing an increase, very few decreases.
So the assessor's next. He had 9 fee increases, 1 new fee, and he's deleting or removing 2 fees. The assessor parcel map fee is going from $4 to $5. The assessor map copy subscription fee is being removed. They no longer use this fee. The assessor map parcel map copy email copy fee is going from $4 to $5. Assessor parcel segregation for 2 parcels is going from $120 to $140. Each additional parcel is going from $60 to $70. That's over the original 2. Reverse and appraisal for parent or child grandparent is going from $145 to $150. Screen prints from the public computer are currently no charge, and it has a maximum of 20 pages on that. We're changing that to $1 per page after 10. Building record copies are going from $4 to $5. Parcel changes are going from $130 to $140. Each additional parcel created is going from $65 to $70. Lot line adjustments per new parcel created is $115 per parcel before, and they're removing that fee. They don't use that. And the subdivision maps are $140 base fee plus $70 for each parcel created. This is the same cost as the parcel changes, but it can be used for a full subdivision rather than just a single parcel or 2.
Chairman?
Yes, sir.
So are any of these fees through the assessor side, are they set by statute? I didn't know, see that noted, so I was checking.
They have some statute involved, but most of theirs for these are set by a time and fee study on the cost and the time it takes to do the actual work.
Okay. Then assessor fees, how do these compare to other counties? I know you said we don't generally measure that, but Todd, would you know that?
Does Todd know that?
I was curious of that.
I was introduced to this fee study myself when I first got in, and the prior office manager ran around and had people, she was hitting with a stopwatch and doing different tasks, and then did the allocation of what our costs are and changed the fees. And anyway, when we updated it, we basically did the same thing, except we used the same time study, and because none of the equipment in our office has changed. The only thing that we did differently is on some of those that we don't even use, there's a couple we're asking to remove them because it didn't make sense. Others we balanced. You can't have some guy come in for a lot line adjustment and tell him it's, 140 or 145, and then the next guy hands the map for his subdivision and said, well, that's only a 4 parcel. The other one's a lot line and you created the parcels, and they go, how come it's a different fee? We did the same thing. So a couple of those were just to balance them out. The per copy charge, this board actually has the authority to set the fees, I believe. If you say we should only be charging $2 a copy because you feel more of it is service to the public, I believe you can do so. In our case, for like the $5 copy fee, our cost, I think in the study, I didn't bring the study parts, like $7 or something.
It's a lot more, yeah. It's 604.
Okay.
So it's actually
Yeah,
604.
all of our, if you probably look at this study for ours and every other department to save you guys time,
Yeah.
all of our fees are probably under what we can charge.
I see.
And for our case, like I say, going back to like the plat maps, it's $5 for the first map and it's $1 after that. If you actually own the property and come in and you say, I'm Mr. Smith and this is my one property and I'd like to see this, we pull the file, we help them, we will give them that plat map. But if you're one of the guys come in and doing a farm, and he says, I want this one and that one, and they don't know who they are, we say, you know what, here's the fee schedule, and it's $5 for the first one, $1 for all the others you want us to go pull and make you copies of. But if you own the parcel and you're just in there trying to get information on your parcel, we give them the first map. So we try and be fair with the homeowner, and if you're in there for commercial reasons, then you're going to receive the fee.
Okay. Those are good examples. So on the copy example where you said basically the study shows 604 is what it costs us. And yeah, that's what I was really curious because all the numbers are perfectly even. So in reality through the study, it's not even, but we sort of rounded downward.
For us,
to,
one of the problems, like, we don't have a big cash box or anything else. And when it was $4, people come in with a 5 and they're like, if 2 or 3 people came in, like I say, we carried very little cash. That's not our job. And so I've had the girls come in to me and say, do you have change?
Right.
It's like, listen, why don't you make it $5 this next time? And we're probably good to go. And so that's the reason we bumped that fee. The other fees, like I said, it was to balance some amount between subdivision, lot line, segregation, that all have something similar to do with, Steve Perry and the mapping. And guys that understand it come in and they go, I don't get the difference. Why is it $5 difference between one and the other? So we just balanced out the fees to make it simplified. If you come in, it's one way for this. It's one way if you get a plat map. It's a little more simplified.
Clean. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
And for that, we took the lowest common fee available and made all the fees that, whatever the lowest cost was, to make it consistent. Any other questions? Okay. All right. This one's a little bit bigger here. See if I can get it all on one. that it's readable, we'll just move it down. So this is the clerk fees.
I'm sorry, the what fees?
Clerk.
The clerk.
In the staff report, everything's grouped together for clerk recorder elections. I'm going to break it out for each of her departments, divisions, so that we can go over them in smaller groups. For the clerk, there's 9 fee increases, 4 fee decreases, 1 fee deletion, and 3 adjustments to the fee schedule to accurately reflect changes to statutory fees. So these are fees that are exactly set by statute. We have no control over, and we just have to go with them. So her changes are her department pooled average rate is going up from $84.70 to $101.83. The marriage license public clerk portion is going down from 35 to 32. The confidential clerk portion is going from 37 up to $50.50. Civil marriage ceremony from $26 to $31. The witness fee is going down $15.75 to $10.50. Duplicate replacement marriage licenses going up $20 to $30. For certification and copying fees, retrieval of photocopying and document per page, $1.50 up to $3. And this is less than the actual cost by quite a bit, but it's based on a statewide average. The photocopy or the passport photo fee is going from $10.50 to $11.75. The filing of oath or bond for notary public is going from $20.50 to $24. Fictitious business names, the name statement is going up from $23 to $24. The abandonment of fictitious business name statements is going down from $23 to $20.25. The withdrawal from partnership is going down from $23 to $20.25. And the clerk certification of public official or notary is going from $13 to $15.25. The last section here is the set by statute fees. We can go over those if you want, but we have no real control. It's more of we need the board to approve the schedule that has those changes on them.
Well, there you go, Ron. It's less expensive to get married. I don't have any questions on that.
It's amazing how it'd be less expensive to get married, but it's more expensive to do everything else. I think they've got that turned around. At least in my 54 years of experience in that area, that's the way it is. The fees by statute, I guess we have no control over. Right. Again, I don't happen to like any increase in fees because it's like a cancer. It just keeps growing upward. But I'm only one voice. Anyone else?
No.
Moving right along.
So the recorder fees. She has 9 fee increases, 1 fee decrease, 4 new fees, 3 fee deletions, and 6 adjustments to the fee schedule to reflect the statutory fees. We're consolidating the document reproduction fee. There used to be 3 fees based on the size per page, $375, $525, and $775. Those are all going away. This is based on a request by the board last time on a self-service copy fee versus a full-service copy fee. So that research has been done. We're creating 2 new fees, a self-service copy fee at $2 and a full-service copy fee at $3. And then we have CD image fees. There's 5 different CD image fees or images available: CD of official records, index only; CD of parcel maps, book 1 through 6; CD of survey books 1 through 18, CD of parcel maps updates quarterly, and CD of survey maps, that says survey maps updates quarterly. All of those have increased based on the department pooled rate, which went up from 93.30 to 108.42 plus supplies. The CD images of official records monthly went from 7 cents per image plus supplies to 15 cents per image plus supplies. And the notification of involuntary lien recording fee first debtor went down from $5.25 to $4.75, and the additional debtor went up from $3 to $4.50. And the recorder certification went from $1.25 to $6.50. I have a second sheet here that shows all of the set by statute fees, which are quite a bit. The biggest issue we have here is that we're adding 2 new fees to several things: days of operation for every business day at $1, and an electronic recording fee of $1, and that's going to increase some of the fees by $2 each. That one back up.
Going back to the page that you had there before,
Sure.
there seem to be some substantial increases in some of these, like the birth certificate went from, what, $10 to 19?
Some of that has to do with the difference in, we haven't updated the schedule since 2011. They were going up in $2, is that right, Donna? $2 per year over the past several years. And so the difference is that we just haven't gotten that schedule updated, but the statute had it going up in increments. So we've been charging the statute fee, we just haven't gotten this reflected correctly. Any other questions?
Not this time.
All right. So here's elections. Has 5 fee increases, 2 new fees, and 20 fee deletions. Looking at the time, or do you want me to keep reading all of the changes? One by one?
No, that's okay.
Okay. The biggest one here is the removal of the 2 voter file fees and creating a voter file CD-ROM fee that's going to combine those 2 fees. And then we're removing the candidate statement fees and creating, there's a whole list of those, and we're removing all of those and combining them into one, and the fee's going to be actual cost plus labor, because that's what it is. Before, the fees were just a deposit, and then we would charge actual cost plus labor. So this is just more accurately reflecting what we're doing.
I'm not sure I understand exactly what you're saying there. Cost plus what? When you say labor?
Donna, do you want to explain that one?
I mean, I come in to file for election to the illustrious Board of Supervisors, and you're going to say, well, give me $100 now, and I'll let you know what the labor is later?
No, what we do is we calculate out and post before each election what we think those costs are going to be based on what they were from the printer previously. So this is the cost of the candidate statement, which is optional by a candidate to give us a candidate statement to put into the candidate handbook that goes out for election time. And it is the actual cost that we incur from the printer plus our time to review the statement, generally a half an hour.
So you're going to be providing some sort of approximate number?
Definitely.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, and then the clerk of the board is adding one fee. It's the department pooled average rate. We did find an error in the billing rate study that will decrease this rate slightly by about $2.50. So before this comes back for the public hearing, we'll have this corrected. But they didn't have this rate before, so we're just adding it.
Can you tell me what that is? I'm not sure
Anytime a department, several departments have an hourly billing rate, so if they do something where they need to charge a rate, they have a fee they can charge to do research or something for somebody.
Okay.
The district attorney has 2 new fees and 5 deletions. They're basically combining all of their media fees into 2, a CD, DVD fee for $20 and a flash drive fee for $40. Health and Human Services has 2 fee increases and 7 adjustments to statutory fees. A lot of these are similar to what you saw on the clerk recorders. And then probation has 1 fee increase and 1 new fee. There's no changes to the juvenile hall fee schedule at this time. They're creating a adult batterers treatment program workbook fee. It's the cost of the workbook. It's $28, and they'll be charging that when someone takes that class. The sheriff has 2 fee increases, 2 new fees, and 3 deletions, and 10 adjustments to reflect the statutory fees. So the majority of their changes are statutory fees. Their increases and removals mostly have to do with their rent of the shoot house and range.
So the witness fee is statutory fee, or?
Yes. And then lastly is the treasurer tax collector. They have 5 changes with 5 fees with policy changes, 9 fee increases, 1 new fee, 2 fee deletions, and 2 adjustments to reflect the statutory fees. They're changing the majority of their copy fees from $1 to $1 over 10 copies. So they're going to give the first 10 for free to reflect more accurately our copy fee. And that's the majority. And then their new fee is actually in their Office of Revenue Collection, which is a research fee. It's that per hour fee. Again, they didn't have one on that side, and that fee's $58.50. And then section 2 has the no changes. Those departments are the countywide copy fee, the CAO's office, all of development services, which includes building inspection, Coupa, engineering, planning, and environmental health, and then human services, mental health and welfare, and the library. So none of those fees are changing at this time. Any questions?
I'll just make some comments. You know, first and foremost, I don't think anybody likes fee increases. I mean, when you talk to the general public, you know, and I'll be the first one to tell you, I believe we're taxed to death enough, you know, and I'm sure that my colleagues would, you know, agree with me on that. So typically what happens when we're doing the fee process and increasing our fees is, you know, until the general public goes out and utilizes, you know, certain services, then we'll start getting those phone calls, and then we'll have to be able to justify, well, this is the reason for the increase, this is the reason why we had to, you know, make adjustments on different fees and scheduling. Obviously, we want to be, you know, cost productive and feasible to, you know, to the county and be able to spend, you know, the county tax dollars accordingly. And obviously, when people are utilizing certain services, they have to pay for those things. And I think we all understand that. So, you know, I don't have a problem approving, you know, a lot of these fees, but I will say that if we do start getting a lot of phone calls, we might have to come back and do some type of adjustments based on what the constituents feel is fair and what we feel is fair as well.
Yeah, I guess just for clarification, when you opened up, you said that the auditor controller was also involved in looking at the fees as well. I just want to know.
What the auditor does is they have developed what's called a rate sheet, and we use that for different things, including the fee schedule, and that is how we determine an hourly or by minute rate for employees, and that includes their rate plus overhead. And that's how we determine our cost for somebody to do something. And they developed that form, that spreadsheet on how to get to that.
I see. Okay.
That's what they've done.
Okay.
And I think that's perfect because most of the time I used to blame it on Supervisor Cleveland for raising fees and stuff like that. So now we can point to our auditor controller for those fee increases.
We've got a lot of darts left over that we, never mind. I would just like to say, for the mandated fees, I guess there's nothing we can do about that. But it would be refreshing to this supervisor for all of you department heads and or folks that are elected and have a fee schedule that you need to work on. It's called cost of sales in business. I would think that you'd do everything in your power. All I've heard is, well, we base it on our cost. We base it on our cost. Well, if your cost is too high or if your cost is awfully high, I'd work on reducing that. I mean, good management seems to me to be a fundamental responsibility of not just you, but of us. So we can be, Mr. Whitaker can be congenial about it and reluctant, but the reality is, what are we doing to, what are you doing to help reduce your cost of sales, as I call it? I think that the public would enjoy nothing more than to be able to have the newspaper say, what do you know, Sutter County's reduced certain fees to make it more reasonable. And he's right. We get the phone calls. Geez, I was in the office the other day. Can't believe what you're getting. What are you doing? So I understand that. I'm just simply suggesting, without trying to give it my best Stan Cleveland preaching, it would be an interesting thing to see some of you be able to cut your cost of sales and say, we reduced our cost of sales in the interest of good management. Mrs. District Attorney.
Hi there. I'm going to just say a few things. Just because of brevity, not all of our research that we put into our fee schedule was put before you. But our office did actually do an analysis of comparable counties. We looked into the ways other counties were handling it. And while our fees did not go down, what we did by consolidating them was we are actually lower than if you do the calculation and the breakdown for both labor and time and cost. And so we're well below that. We're in fact dramatically below that. And so there was a lot more research that went into it, I'm sure, from all the departments than what you got. Nobody asked me any questions, so I didn't get a chance to tell you that. But because you had some questions or some comments, I wanted to let you know that there was a lot more that went into it than what you were able to see.
Great. Congratulations.
Through the chair, I will also state, history during budget times and where we've addressed fee increases and through certain departments. I mean, I remember one year we asked, a lot of our departments to cut down their budgets to 30%, 30% cost savings within our county. The following year, we asked them to cut another 20%. And so, I'm here to say that, a lot of our department heads, they do make those additional cost savings. And once again, if we can make further more cost savings, I'm sure they would. But, kudos to those departments who are working and who are doing a great job for us and making sure that we do have those significant savings for our constituents.
Through the chair. Thank you, Tammy, for the job. You put it together real well. You had a good job on it. But I think our department heads are holding their toe. We haven't done anything since, 2011? And so if we wait another 4 or 5 years, it's going to be really high if we don't edge it up a little bit, because we do have inflation. And you have to book that in, and you have labor costs. And then, like some of this printing, you go to lease a piece of equipment, it keeps going up, it doesn't go down. So we've got to pay for that equipment and the time. Thank you.
My concern is bracket creep. Did you have something?
Yes, thank you for the presentation. And I would just like to encourage the county to get the information out to the public. I didn't see anything in the newspaper about the study session, and I think it's well worth a press release going out saying, okay, we're looking at increasing the fees or modifying fees or reducing them or eliminating them, and here's where you can find the information. So I would encourage the county to do that before the soon, so that people have an opportunity to look at it before the 23rd. Okay? Thank you.
Does anyone else from the public have anything to add? If not, this